Every day a rental property sits empty, it costs you money. But choosing the wrong tenant can cost you far more. You have a stack of applications, but how do you decide who to trust? If you set your credit score requirement too high, you might struggle to find any qualified applicants. Set it too low, and you risk dealing with unpaid rent and significant headaches. Let's break down the right credit score to look for based on your specific rental property, so you can find a reliable tenant and protect your investment. A landlord's biggest fear is putting the wrong person in their property. It can lead to property damage, expensive legal disputes, and thousands of dollars in lost income. The credit score is a key screening tool, but there's a lot of conflicting advice. Some will tell you to accept nothing less than 750, while others suggest the score doesn't matter at all. The truth is, neither approach is correct. The ideal credit score really depends on your property, its location, and your personal tolerance for risk. We'll explore the 3 main tiers of rental properties, and just as importantly, cover what you need to look for beyond the score itself. Let's begin at the top of the market. If you're renting a luxury apartment, a high-end single-family home, or a premium condo, you can and should set high standards. For these Class A properties, you should look for a minimum credit score of 700 or higher. Why that high? These properties command top-dollar rent, and the applicant pool is usually competitive, which allows you to be more selective. A score above 700 demonstrates a history of financial stability and responsible payments. Exactly what you want when a significant amount of rent is on the line. If you have an otherwise stellar applicant whose score is slightly below that mark, consider asking for a larger security deposit or a qualified guarantor to offset any perceived risk. Now for the most common rental category, standard mid-range apartments and homes. This is where most landlords operate. For these kinds of properties, a minimum credit score between 620 and 650 is widely considered the industry standard. This range really is the sweet spot. A score in the low to mid 600s typically indicates a baseline level of financial responsibility that most property managers find acceptable. In fact, 620 is one of the most common minimums used across the rental industry. An applicant in this range is generally approved, though it's reasonable to ask for additional documentation if their score is on the lower end of that spectrum. This benchmark helps filter out higher-risk applicants without leaving your property vacant for months. What if your property is in a less competitive market, or you're a private landlord with more flexibility? For budget-friendly rentals, many landlords will accept scores in the 580 to 600 range. In this tier, landlords often place more weight on other factors, like a steady income and positive references from previous landlords. However, accepting a lower score doesn't mean ignoring due diligence. For any applicant in this range, it's wise to ask for additional assurances. This could mean collecting the first and last month's rent up front, requiring a larger security deposit, or verifying their payment history with strong rental references. So, what credit score should you accept? It isn't about finding one perfect number. It's about setting a reasonable baseline for your type of property and then evaluating the entire applicant profile.